Okay, so now we're getting ready to, we've cut all the roof rafters. The way I do it is I get one side up here, lean it on the wall, and then now my wife is helping me today, so it makes it a little bit easier. Actually, she's the one that laid all these up here. So what I'll do is I'll get on a ladder. I've already built the temporary scaffolding, which is just some 2x8s. Nothing fancy because it's going to be ripped out when I'm done with it. But I don't want to the ridge board is already up, so I set the ridge yesterday. It's up there. I've done my layout, my 16-inch layout on my ridge before I put it up. When it's laying on the sawhorses, I do both sides of it. I don't know if you probably can't see, but anyway, there's a line and then a slash on the side where the rafter will go. So that's all done on both sides of do that first. It's much easier than trying to do it up there. Anyway, and then I'll walk on top of these. You may have your own way of doing temporary scaffolding, but you certainly don't want to be putting these up there on a ladder, right? So, but what I will do is I'll get on the ladder, and then my wife will be here, which makes it easier. Otherwise, I'd have to bend down, grab this, and walk it up the ladder. And then what I'll do is I'll put this end of them, I'll lay them on top here, all the way down on both sides. So then now when I'm up there, I can just grab the end, put it, flip it, put it up against the ridge, and nail them off, and then they'll all be nailed off at the ridge, and then I'll come down here and I'll toe nail them, and I'll nail obviously the ones that touch these. I'll nail them to here, but I'll toe nail them all in. That's the way I do it. And what I'll also do, because what will happen is when you get them all up there, they're heavy. They're going to make that ridge, it's a 2x8, it's going to sag. It's 20 feet long, right? From the weight of holding up the ends of all these. So what I'll do is before I start setting them all, I'm gonna post from the top of this scaffolding support, which is two 2x4s. I'll post up from there to the bottom of the ridge in the center, so it's basically 10 feet in, 10 feet and 10 feet. There's not enough weight to sag when it's 10 feet. That's a short enough distance, but it's 20, and you go put them all up there, that ridge is going to drop. It's a lot of weight. So anyway, so I'll just post up temporary. And then once I get them all, matter of fact, I'll even post it a little bit high, maybe a 1/4 inch or so there's a little bit of crown in the ridge. And then once I get them nailed off on this end, I can take that support out, and then of course the ridge will become self-supported, but it may want to drop a little bit. So I'll just make it maybe like a 1/4 inch high. I'll cut the 2x4 a 1/4 inch longer. It'll force the ridge up a little bit, put a little bit of a crown in it to counteract when the support is taken out, and all the rafters are there. But since they'll be nailed in on this end, it can't come down too far. Which is basically, that's what these are for. These are to tie the walls together to counteract the roof wanting to push the side walls out. Anyway, yeah, so that's how it'll go. So being that my wife is here to help, I don't have to come from the ground all the way up. I can stand on the ladder. She can hand me, several feet up, and then I can place them up on top and then move the ladder and do some more. It's a little bit easier with 2 people, but you can do it alone. Yeah, I think that's it. Temporary scaffold, 2x4 nailed in here. That's how I do it. I've got it toe nailed here so it doesn't come out. Have to be careful. Can't nail these in, unfortunately, at the bottom. If I was on a wood deck, I would, just in case you bump one, but just have to be careful. Temporary support here. These are 18-foot 2x8s, so I had a scab on. I scabbed another piece on here, and then I nailed it from underneath. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of how you do that. All right, back to work.